Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Finn Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Finn Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Finn Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less. You check as I'm chess, what's happening next? Yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new.
What up, Finn fans? Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. Listen, same title as the video as yesterday. I thought we'd give it another try. We didn't really get into the Dolphin head coaching candidates. It kind of did a little bit of freestyle with everybody calling in, which I absolutely love, and I encourage that. I love when people want to get on and voice their opinions, and we can go back, have a little back and forth. And, you know, listen, I'm no better than any of you. My takes are no better than any of yours. Well, I mean, maybe some of your takes, maybe not, maybe some of your takes are out there, but, listen, who knows the correct answer to the Miami Dolphins problems? You know, we could go out and hire, the top candidate as the next head coach, the top general manager, and maybe it still doesn't work out. You think that I'm sure when people go into the draft, they think they're drafting the correct players each and every year. And look how many draft prospects don't turn out the way that NFL teams think they're going to. So this isn't an exact science. Nobody has all the answers. Nobody knows how things are going to work out. Nobody knew Tom Brady was going to be what Tom Brady would become as a 6th-round pick. Antonio Brown, one of the greatest receivers of all time, he was a late 5th, 6th-round guy. So nobody knows for sure. Nobody is absolutely 100. It's all opinions. It's all opinions. I love opinions. I love talking about the Miami Dolphins with each and every one of you. So we're gonna try to get into it, talk about some possible replacements, and maybe the guy that you think should be the next Miami Dolphins head coach isn't on this list. Now, this isn't the list that I think absolutely has the guy on there. There's going to be more names added. Some of these guys may not even interview for this position. Who knows? Who knows? This is just a early, very early list. Obviously Mike McDaniel's still the head coach of this football team as of right now. Maybe that changes with a loss to the Cleveland Browns, which isn't a guarantee. That's not a guarantee. I'm not saying that we're definitely losing to the Cleveland Browns. I still, whether I think at this point, if we win football games, we're not going to win a bunch. And I think it hurts our team more than it helps our team to win football games at this point. But I'm going to still cheer for us to win. I can't help it. It's just, it goes against every fiber in my body to hope for this football team to lose. So, it is what it is. I'm hoping for a win. Will I be mad at a loss? Well, it depends on how we play, I guess. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat. Make sure you hit them like buttons. Listen, I had 300 plus views on yesterday's video, which was that's phenomenal for me. That's phenomenal for me. But 25 likes. Now, if you don't like the video, cool. If you don't like the video, I get it. I understand. I don't want you to hit a like button for something that you don't like. But if you do like the video, this takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It's the only way that I can get into the algorithm and continue to try to grow. Please hit that like button. It helps immensely. It helps immensely. Justin, good morning, good morning, good morning. He says he likes Rick Biscotta as head coach, Mike Zimmer as DC, and either Joe Lombardi or Arthur Smith as OC. Anthony, good morning. Only the real survive. What up? What up? What up? Miller, good morning. Michael Lombardo, good morning. Greg, good morning. Bonnie, good morning. Miller says Judkins is going to run all over us. I mean, everybody else has, right? Can't be mad at a loss, to be honest. Laugh out loud. 1-6 has a good ring to it. With the track record of the Miami Dolphins, we're going to end up losing the top 3 pick and end up in the purgatory Roma, the draft, where we're picking out 11 to 15. Anthony, that seems like it's a trend with the Miami Dolphins, right? We always miss out on those top prospects and get stuck in mediocre hell. That mediocre mid-round picks that aren't necessarily life-changing picks, changing picks. And then we end up reaching for a player that, Just think, if we would have had a top 10 pick this year instead of maybe Kenneth Grant, which I still have high hopes for Kenneth Grant. I still have high hopes for Jonah. But you could have got more of a sure thing, a Membu, I don't know if Kenneth Grant's teammate at Michigan is going to be any better for the Cleveland Browns, but we'll see. And I got a little criticism to shoot out there. Raphael, good morning, brother. Timothy, good morning. Is it just me? I tried to watch the Dolphin Confidential, right? Wow. Bro, I understand trying to get your money on YouTube, man. But the amount of ads that they throw in that video makes it unbearable. The amount of ads that they're trying to get paid for in those Dolphin Collective videos makes it almost unbearable. JD the Great, I haven't seen you in forever, brother. Where you at? Good morning. I thought, we had a great time in Buffalo. I thought maybe you weren't showing up no more. What up? What up, brother? But man, there was I tried to listen to a car today and bro, there was literally 20 ads, which is absolutely crazy. Anthony says, my head coach is Mike McCarthy. Man, I can't get on board with Mike McCarthy. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is with him. My thing with Mike McCarthy is you had an all-time great quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. And what did you really produce with him? What did you really produce with him? What up, Kliff? Ross should refund the ticket holders for this garbage. Listen, I ain't mad at you for that take. Just Mike McCarthy's just not it for me. I mean, hey, maybe he would come in here and turn this franchise around, but Mike McCarthy is not it for me personally. I don't think that's the correct direction to go. But for me personally, I'm not positive in what direction we should go in. I don't have the answer to that. The only answer that I can say for certain is if you can somehow pry Andy Reid away from the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what I mean? I think that would work. I certainly think that would work, but what are the chances that happens? I think Jim Harbaugh would work, but obviously we missed out on the opportunity to grab him because Stephen Ross didn't want to take Jim Harbaugh from his alma mater. He put his alma mater before his publicly owned franchise that puts money in his pocket every year, every day. My dream coach would be Brady, Tom Brady. He'd have to sell his minority stake in the Raiders, but he'd make a great coach. That's a hot take. We lost all our secondary, but this D line is not the same as last year. Tua has 8 turnovers in 6 games. Bench them like when you bench running back for fumbles. Not gonna say no names, Mike McDaniel. If we lose to the Browns next home game, about to have a bunch of empty seats. Bonnie says, I don't care who it is as long as they have had experience as a head coach. I'm good. I don't want another experiment. Where's Adam Gase or Cameron? Oh man, you're scratching the bottom of the barrel now, brother. Cameron. Lombardo says, hell no to Brady. Well, I got a little list. I got a little list of possibilities. While I go through this list, I'm not going to be able to see all the comments, so bear with me. Number 1 on this list is Jeff Heathley. He's the current Packers defensive coordinator. He's got prior head coach experience at Boston College. So at least he's got some head coach experience. Boston College is a tough place to win. During his 4 years as head coach there, he did take them to 3 bowl games. He did have a under 500 record while he was there, but that's more of the Boston College situation than it is him. His first season as the Packers defensive coordinator in 2024, it was really good. The Packers defense ranked high in almost every category. They finished 3rd in points, allowed 6 in points per drive, 4th in EPA, and 5th in total defense. And they created the 3rd highest rate of turnovers as well. He's still young, only 46 years old, so he can relate to the younger players in the modern game. He'll have to go and get himself an experienced offensive coordinator to help out with his staff. But he's a name that I think is going to be high on a lot of people's lists this year. I think his name's going to be high on a lot of people's lists this year. Number 2 on the list. Let's see. Kliff Kingsbury. Kliff Kingsbury. Obviously, he's got some prior NFL head coaching experience and head coaching experience from the college level. His record is 5 games under 500, so that's not great. He was head coach for the Arizona Cardinals. He was 11 games under 500 there. For me personally, listen, Kliff Kingsbury is an excellent offensive mind, but he's not a guy that I would bring in. He's kind of a mix between a Mike McDaniel and a Adam Gase. He's just too similar to them guys, personality wise, scheme wise, just too close. Kliff Kingsbury, you might as well keep Mike McDaniel, in my opinion. But with that being said, I can see Ross, Garfinkel, Greer, if he's still here, and others fall in love with this guy just because he's that flashy offensive brainiac. You know what I mean? He looks like he belongs in Miami. He's done great things as offensive coordinator in Washington with Jaden Daniels, though. But will he be able to do the same things with whoever Miami Dolphins quarterback is? Will he be able to work with Tua if Tua's still the quarterback? If we draft a guy, is he going to be able to do the same things he's done with Jaden Daniels? Listen, he wouldn't be my favorite but I wouldn't be shocked if Kliff Kingsbury is the next head coach of the Miami Dolphins. I think there's a very high chance that Kliff Kingsbury is the next head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Bonnie says a lot of times head coaches that fail the first time succeed the next time. Listen, I believe that. I believe that. I think Mike McDaniel's next opportunity as head coach, he's going to be phenomenal. I think Mike McDaniel's next stop, he's going to be a great head coach. Number 3 on the list. Some people just mentioned him. We just talked about him. I do not have a picture of him. Is Mike McCarthy. To me, I think this could be another very high. I think this is a guy that Stephen Ross, and if Chris Greer's here, Chris Greer are going to like a lot. Listen, he's definitely a football guy. He's not the type of guy to tell funny jokes. He's not the guy. He's a no nonsense type of coach. He's a down to earth player. He's not going to have the big fancy watch like Mike McDaniel and the designer sunglasses, the designer Nike shoes or Prada shoes or this or that. He's a plain Jane football guy. He's 62 games over 500, so he's had success, right? There's a lot of division titles, playoff experiences. But his playoff success, he's not that. I'm not in love with the guy. I don't know. There's just something about him that he's just not it for me. But he definitely would bring some maturity that I think the Miami Dolphins need right now. He would bring a level of maturity and professionalism that I think the Miami Dolphins need right now. After the disaster that was Brian Flores and what's going on with Mike McDaniel, he's someone that you bring in with no nonsense football guy, and he can right the ship. So I think he's definitely he's like a boring hire, but I think he could be the answer. He could be the answer. I'm just not. I'm not in love with. I'm not in love with Mike McCarthy. Next on the list, boom, Steve Sarkisian. I think this guy has a real chance to be the Miami Dolphins' next head coach. He has had a coaching experience at Washington, USC, and Texas. He's over 500 at each of those universities. He was also offensive coordinator for the Falcons. He's a real skilled play caller with head coaching experience, and he has the potential to become a very good NFL head coach. The biggest issue with Steve is that he's got it made at Texas, right? He's got it made at Texas. Right now he's got Arch Manning down there, and I know Arch hasn't performed to the level that everybody has hoped for, but he's got it made down there. Why would he leave? Why would he leave the University of Texas for the complete disaster that is the Miami Dolphins at this moment? Listen, college football has changed, and in the NLI era, with the money that Texas boosters give this guy, he has no salary cap. He can buy the best players each year. He can create the team that he wants at Texas and be a national champion contender each and every year. So to get him to leave, you'd have to pay him an absurd amount of money. And I just feel like we could have a situation with Steve Sarkisian that kind of like with Nick Saban. I think maybe you could lure him out and Stephen Ross could give him a boat full of money. But I think at the first sign of trouble, I think he would hightail it right back to college football. I think he would abandon ship and hightail it right back to college football. Now, you guys, there's going to be a lot of guys on this list. This was a quick list. Obviously, there's going to be a million more names added to the list. We're going to talk about each and every one of those guys. This was just an initial list, right? Again, Steve Sarkisian, he's got an outstanding football mind. And if he's entertaining coaching in the NFL level, I think he could be a great NFL head coach given the right situation. Next on the list, we got Todd Monken. Todd Monken is the Ravens offensive coordinator, 59 years old, so he's a little bit older than I would like for a new head coach. But I mean, I guess 59 is not too old. He was the head coach at Southern Miss from 2013 to 2015. He's very well respected around the league. He's an offensive-minded coach who has bounced back and forth between big-time college programs like LSU and Georgia, as well as been the NFL with Jacksonville, Cleveland, Tampa, and now Baltimore. If the plan is to replace Tua, and it probably should be, and to draft a young quarterback to develop and build an offense around, then Monken should be high on this list. He is the right mix to great offensive mind with NFL experience and previous head coaching experience on a major level. Obviously, he's worked with Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson, everybody thought he was just going to be he was a running back. He wasn't a real quarterback. I think he's done wonders with Lamar Jackson. So I think Todd Monken would be a good option as head coach of the Miami Dolphins. anytime you can pull players from successful organizations, I think it can only help your team. You want to get coaches and general managers from teams like Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Kansas City. You want to pull players from those organizations because they do things the correct way. They do things right. Next on the list, and I think this is kind of a long shot, but hear me out. Deion Sanders. The Miami Dolphins looking for a head coach. The Miami Dolphins possibly looking for a quarterback. The Miami Dolphins trade a pick to the Cleveland Browns for Shedeur Sanders, and they hire Deion Sanders. Shedeur Sanders has a lot of similarities to Tua Tagovailoa, except he's more mobile and not injury prone. He's very accurate on the shorter routes. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but he's healthy. He's healthy, and he can run if need be. Deion, listen, don't laugh at this. Don't laugh. But Deion's dying to get out of Colorado now that his kids are gone. He would love to get a big-time job in the SEC or the Big Ten, but I think he would also consider coming to the NFL. The NFL players obviously would respect Deion Sanders. He's an all-time great. Players look up to him. He could put together an all-star staff with big-name coaches and former players. Talk about a culture change. I think Deion would absolutely bring that. Now, you would have to tell Deion that you're not trading a first-round pick to bring his son here, but I wouldn't be against bringing Shedeur here. Shedeur was supposed to be a top 10 pick in this year's draft, even though I think this year's quarterback draft class was very weak. But Shedeur and Deion have a level of success together. The major drawback from Deion is his health issues. Deion dealing with a lot of health issues. And is he all in? Can he commit the time needed to be an NFL head coach? Deion's the ultimate candidate if you want a culture change. And listen, I'm not saying Deion's the answer. I'm just Deion's obviously an obvious candidate. Next on the list, Kirby Smart. Kind of like Steve Sarkisian. Why would he leave Georgia? He's got it made there. With all the money that's rolling in from this new NIL program in college football, he can build his dream teams at Georgia. But if, a lot of these head coaches, no matter how successful of a program that they're in charge of in college, a lot of them just have dreams of being an NFL head coach. If he's got those dreams, this would be a good opportunity for him. He's definitely a leader of men. I think he'd put together a great staff. He knows college talent well, so I think he'd hit home runs in the draft. You know, a lot of these head coaches in college football are great recruiters, and they are great at analyzing young talent. So typically they have very successful draft classes. So that could help rebuild this franchise. Um, I'm not in love with his sideline demeanor. It's kind of tough to deal with. He's going to have to dial it down. He's, you know, these aren't kids you're dealing with. These are grown ass men. So you're going to have to take it down from as hyped as he gets, maybe from a 10 down to a 3-4. You know what I mean? Listen, I think Kirby Smart, if you're going to go to college ranks, I think he'd be a good option. Now, this guy right here, he's going to be I don't think he's going to leave Georgia neither, to be honest. And Colorado did have the Heisman winner and didn't win the Big 12, but you got to think what Colorado was before Deion got there. And Deion brought the Heisman winner with him. Next on this list is going to be a lot of people's favorites, but it's going to also a lot of people don't like them. We got Jon Gruden. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the notifications. Jon Gruden's a popular name with a lot of Dolphins fans online. Listen, here's the deal with Jon Gruden. He has previous head coaching experience and is someone that would come in and change the culture right away. The biggest problem with him I don't think Stephen Ross is going to go out and get Jon Gruden. I don't think he's going to. Stephen Ross founded Rise. It's an organization, nonprofit organization that educates the sports community on how to combat racial discrimination and champion social justice. Being the founder of that, and with these Jon Gruden emails that have been leaked in the past, I just think that Stephen Ross would stay far away from Jon Gruden just because of that foundation that he started. I think Jon Gruden deserves another chance. He served his punishment. He had to swallow his pride. I just don't see it in Miami, though. I think Jon Gruden does wonders with these coaching programs and this quarterback camps that he has with young prospects. I think Jon Gruden knows the game of football. I think Jon Gruden's a leader of men. I just don't think him and Stephen Ross mix. Oh, next on the list, we got Joe Brady. Listen, I don't think Joe Brady's leaving Buffalo, but Joe Brady is from Pembroke Pines, Florida, so maybe his Miami is the one job that he'd consider. Who knows, though? I think he's got it pretty sweet in Buffalo working with Josh Allen, and he'll get an opportunity to handpick his job eventually. He's only 35 years old. He has zero head coaching experience, but he'll be one of the hottest names to get a bunch of head coaching interviews just because of Josh Allen. Can he run an offense that doesn't have a future Hall of Fame quarterback like Josh Allen, though? Can he? That's going to be the major question, and that's going to be a huge risk that a franchise is going to have to take. Adam Gase was great with Peyton Manning, and then he came to Miami, and he was atrocious. that can scare a lot of teams away from Joe Brady. But I could see Stephen Ross falling in love with a young head coach from South Florida. I think he needs more experience. I would stay away from Joe Brady. I don't want a guy that's never been a head coach before. That's me personally. This one I don't got a picture for, but Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, obviously, I think wants back in the NFL. I don't think this is a realistic option for the Miami Dolphins. First and foremost, and the biggest reason being, besides Bill Belichick being old as shit, there's no way in the world, no way, that the Miami Dolphins bring in Bill Belichick to break Don Shula's record. There's no way. There's no way that that's a possibility. If Stephen Ross really wants fan out an all out riot in Miami, he'd bring in Bill Belichick, because you bring in Bill Belichick to break Don Shula's record, that is sacrificial. That is a sin. That is a sin against the Miami Dolphins. I don't think there's any chance that Bill Belichick comes to Miami. Plus, what has Bill Belichick done without Tom Brady? Let's be honest. Another name on the list. I thought I had a picture of him too. Where'd all these pictures go? Dang it. I know I got. Let me see. Oh, I know I had more pictures. Oh, there it is. Boom. Loading. Nick Saban. Do we bring Nick Saban back? Listen, Nick Saban's at an age where it's all about his legacy. He's out of coaching right now because of that nil program at Alabama. He did not like that. I think he would have never left Alabama again. Remember, he left the Miami Dolphins to return to Alabama after he said he was not going to. He has a nice TV job right now, but he looks miserable on TV each and every week. This guy is a football coach through and through. He's one of the greatest collegiate coaches of all time, if not the greatest. But he left college football strictly because of the nil, and he hates the nil. The biggest negative mark on Nick Saban being the head coach of the Miami Dolphins is his time with the Dolphins previously. If he could somehow, if Nick Saban could come to Miami and put together a Super Bowl winning team, you might have to mark Nick Saban down as the greatest head coach of all time. And I think that thought has to enter his head. I think it's got to enter his head that, hey, if I can go to the NFL and be great, and I think Nick Saban could be great. I think Nick Saban could be a great NFL head coach. That he may be the greatest head coach of all time. Now, is he the answer? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying this is who we should hire. But I think Nick Saban should be given he should be given a look. I think we should bring him in for an interview if he's interested. Next on the list. Oh, it's you, Anthony Weaver. Listen, let's be real. Anthony Weaver was a head coaching candidate last year. But if this season continues to go as badly as it's going right now, if this defense continues to perform how it performs right now, how do you promote him? How do you promote him? This defense is historically bad for the Miami Dolphins, and you're going to tell me the answer is promoting the person in charge of that defense? Now, I know that he had limited skill players at the cornerback position to work with. It's not like he had competent corners to work with. But I don't think there's a real reason that our front seven's playing as poorly as they have been. I think that falls on Anthony Weaver. But again, this is the Miami Dolphins, and Miami has been known to do terrible things. You fire everyone and keep the coordinator to promote him the head coach. That sounds like a typical Dolphin thing to do. I don't know. I definitely don't think that Anthony Weaver is the answer. If you guys, you listen, maybe you don't blame Anthony Weaver for the defense, and I don't fully blame him, but he's got to take some accountability, right? Some accountability's got to be placed upon the shoulders of Anthony Weaver. And maybe it's not all his fault, but some of it is his fault, 100%. Damian, there's no way that Stephen Ross sells this team. There's none. Zero. No way. There's no way. Stephen Ross has always wanted to be a professional sports owner. And he makes too much money off the F1 racing. He still makes money. Fans still pay dollars to go and see the Miami Dolphins. They still purchase clothing and all types of stuff. But there's even more names. A lot of you guys named some great possibilities. And again, I don't know the right answer. I wish we could build a coach from the floor up. I've seen some of you say Jay Gruden, John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh, I think, would be a good option. He's had great success there in Baltimore. I know a lot of the people think that Mike Tomlin might be an option if Pittsburgh ends up falling short of their goals again this year. Ron Rivera, yep, there's another name. And all these guys are great possibilities, and I think they got to do their due diligence. But me personally, I think the bigger issue and the biggest question that we have to answer first and foremost is the general manager position. A head coach is very important to a football team, but I think a general manager is almost more important. The general manager is responsible for bringing in the players that play on the field. You can have the greatest head coach, and if the general manager is not making the proper decisions and not bringing in the proper talent, then that head coach is going to fail. Yes, and you got, like, let's see, you say you know, you got Chris Shula. Chris Shula, defensive coordinator for the LA Rams. Obviously, he's the grandson of Don Shula, former linebacker at the University of Miami, coaching experience at Ball State, Indiana, John Carroll, and some coaching experience with the San Diego Chargers. He's been with the LA Rams defense since the 2017 season. He's only 39 years old. Obviously, a lot of people would love to bring in a Shula to help bring this franchise out of the cellar. And I think Chris Shula would be a good option. I definitely think Chris Shula would be a good option. But yeah, that's just a couple names. Obviously, again, we need to fire the general manager, and I'm not sure that the Miami Dolphins do that. I'm not sure that they do that. I still think there's probably a legitly, I think there's a 30% chance that Chris Greer, Mike McDaniel, and Tua Tagovailoa are all here again next year. And 30% is not that great of a chance, but it's a lot higher than what it should be. 30% chance that all three are back for next year. Yes, I think it would be his first head coaching job. He wasn't head coach at Ball State, Indiana, John Carroll, or with San Diego Chargers. So, but I think there's a good chance that all three of these guys are here next year, simply because Mike McDaniel's under contract. You're gonna have to pay him off anyway. Tua Tagovailoa is almost guaranteed to be here. So he might be like, screw it, one more year. He might say, screw it, one more year. And that will suck. That will suck. But hey, I got a doctor's appointment, so I got to run. I appreciate y'all. I love you all. Tomorrow, I want to do some more call-ins. So get your questions ready. Get your statements ready. Let me know what you want to tell the world, what you want to discuss, so we can pull you guys on stage and we can hear your opinions about the Miami Dolphins. We got the Cleveland Browns this week. We're going to talk about that. But yeah, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all later. You know what it is. Bins up. Peace. Hit that like button.
Yo. Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fizz up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.